Hello! You're in for a treat.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays.
2 West.
6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
We got new hours because we're nerdish.
And we're in our 20s despite our looks, so we gotta do things in the evening time over the summer.
Correct, but not too late because, as Levi said, we're in our mid-20s.
Not our early 20s.
And not our late 20s, the mid-20s.
So, yes, we're the Goldilocks of 20s.
That's right, I shouldn't have laughed. I gotta keep it cool, cause this is our intro rap, where we keep things cool.
We're very cool, so cool we might want a dance break.
Hey, thanks for watching our dance break.
Now, back to the really serious stuff.
Like Brady
And Levi.
and Brady too. We're the 3 members of the Nerdish crew.
That was perfect. We didn't plan that.
Not at all. We don't plan anything. If you couldn't tell by this rap. That was the one thing we rhymed.
That was the one thing.
Which makes it a rap.
Yes, all raps have one rhyme.
We'll see you on 2 West.
Yes. 2 West.
6, 7:30 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Keep watching, because it'll turn into us, but probably not wearing the wigs.
Yes, and we'll be much more responsive to whatever you have to say.
You could ask us questions right now. We will not answer them.
Also, we take no responsibility for anything we've done in this pre-recorded session.
Yes. Any lost items, Nerdish is not responsible.
Right, we don't have anything to do with it. We're very different people in the present than we are from when we're recording this video. You might say we are the pupae of Nerdish right now, and in the future we will be the moths.
The
Because moths are the
disgusting
most-
gray moths.
Yes, those gray moths that you hear, they're
Yeah.
like the bats of the flying community.
The wings are leathery. They're leathery wings.
Very leathery.
They're basically butterflies, but we hate them.
Yes.
They're the rodents of butterflies.
This is true.
Right?
Just like the ACT is the rodent of the SAT.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
Meme, what's up? Ask questions, begin.
Go!
Yep, fast.
You're not asking questions.
Where are
We
your
got
questions?
nothing from
okay,
you.
well, we're gonna probably have to stop streaming.
I'm gonna have to tell Levi that I don't condone violence while I hit him with the rag. I don't, and we also don't condone violence. Who are you?
Who are you, bro?
Yeah.
Oh.
You like how that sounds?
Oh.
As in, who are you? Not me. I mean, do you like how that sounds?
Who am I?
Who am I? Who am I?
Okay.
Who am I?
You're watching Nerdish. Beep, beep, beep.
Did we do this question?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was an ACT question. Oh, what did I just do?
Don't do that.
This guy.
Oh, I taught this 2 days ago.
You did.
Yep.
Do you think you can do it again?
No, I think now that I taught it, I can't do it again.
That makes sense, because you're a bozo.
True.
All right. So we're just. The question is basically, I don't get this notation.
Good. A sequence is defined for all positive integers by S sub n. Where can I do practice questions besides Khan and College Board book? UWorld. You can do practice problems in UWorld. I mean, the SAT has online. I mean, like there's. I don't know how many SATs are in the College Board book, but there's like 8 or 10 of them available online that you can do. I don't know if you've done those before. There's UWorld has some stuff. What else has some stuff, Levi?
Oh yeah.
Good, that's helpful. Anyway, it's defined as S sub n is equal to 2s sub n minus 1 plus n plus 1, and s sub 1 equals 3. What is s sub 4? What does that even mean? Well, it's a sequence. A sequence is a pattern of numbers. Trust me,
Robot.
Khan and all the official tests, you don't need more. It's enough. Huh. Hello, robot. Wow, it's been a while. Have you been oiling your joints so that you stay a flexible, oily robot? I got a DMACA violation from posting questions. That's not good. Levi, what's DMACA?
DMCA. It's like copyright infringement type of thing.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so this is a formula for a sequence, and this in particular is called a recursive formula. Recursive means to go back. The reason why we call this recursive is because in order to find out your next term, you have to base it off of whatever your previous term was, okay? So this subscript tells us what term we are in the sequence. So I might say a sub 5 is equal to 13. The fifth term in the sequence A is 13, okay? So if we want to find a sub 6, which is the next term, take a look at what the formula says. If we want to find a sub 6, we would have a, but then n minus 1. If this is 6, and that's our n, then our n minus 1 is 5. Then we have plus 7, okay? So what this means is to find the sixth term, take the fifth term and add 7, which means that a6 is going to be a sub 5, which we know is 13, plus 7 is equal to 20. My favorite teacher's alive. Oh, Jay. Oh, gosh. That's nice of you to say. You're one of our favorite students. You're one of them. We have many of them. Actually, all the people that are currently on the chat are some of our favorite students. So it works out. It's pretty reciprocal here. Anyway, recursive formulas tell you how to find a term based upon the previous term. So let's take a look now at... Now, of course, you couldn't do this if you don't have a term to start with. Knowing to go back to the previous term, you've got to have one term to anchor yourself, and then you can move forward and move backward from that term. But if you don't have that, you know, saying, hey, just go back a term and add 3. It's like, well, what's the term before? I don't know. It doesn't really help. You have to have something to start yourself. So they give us s sub 1, which is 3. So I'm going to write, I'm going to go over here. So s sub 1, which is 3. S sub 2, we don't know. S sub 3, we don't know. And S sub 4 is what they're looking for. That is what they're looking for. So let's look at our formula. What our formula says is in order to find some term S sub n, you have to take 2 and multiply it by the term before. That's what S sub n minus 1 means. It's the term before. And then you're supposed to add n, whatever n is itself, and then add 1 to that. Okay? So we'll start with finding S2, because we have, you know, S sub 1. So S sub 2, if I'm going to write this according to that formula, is going to be 2 times S sub 1, because that's n minus 1, plus, now here we're just adding whatever n is. And right now we're trying to find the second term, so our n is 2 plus 1. Okay? That right there is our formula, and S sub 1 is 3. So we have 2 times 3 plus 2 plus 1. 6 plus another 3, which is 9. So that's 9. Okay? I want to go over here now. So S sub 3. You want to get that, Levi?
Who would that be?
I don't know. Be 2S sub 2 plus 3 plus 1, because now our n value is 3, which is going to give us 2 times our second term, which is 9, plus 3 plus 1. 18 plus 4, 22. Almost there. Jay, the fact that you're watching us means that you're not wasting our time. It feels good to have people watch us. So please ask questions if you have them. If not, I mean, keep watching us. By the way, the apostrophe should be after the S, because what you said, I'm wasting your guy's time, sounds like it's one guy in particular. And if you want to say it's us, your guy's time. You guys, the time that belongs to you guys. Oh, that's interesting. Levi.
Yes, sir.
Your guy's time. I'm wasting your guy's time. How would you make that possessive? I mean, is your already possessive?
It would be you guys' time. But, like, you don't, I mean, you
yeah,
guys...
it would be you guys' time, wouldn't it?
You guys doesn't really lend itself to that because you guys is two... It's basically two nouns next to each other. Or it's a pronoun and then a noun, right? You and guys.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, is guys a pronoun?
No, it's not.
Guy's like a weird pro. It's not a normal.
It'd be you
pronoun.
guys' time, but that doesn't sound great. So your guys' time sounds much better. But
Y'all's
then it's
time.
like y'all's time.
Just go with y'all's time.
Yeah, Jay, it's actually not as cut and dry as I thought, but it's definitely not what you wrote. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Okay. There, we're trying to keep you on your toes. S sub 4, last one, would be 2 times S sub 3 plus 4 plus 1, which equals 2 times 22 plus 4 plus 1, which is equal to 44 plus 5, which gets us to 49. 49 is our answer, which is, of course, J. This is Algebra 2 material. Yeah, they usually teach sequences in Algebra 2, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing with your guys' time. Bird, you'll appreciate this. So, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's being described, right? Time is owned by the guys. So it's the guys' time, which means that guys owns the time. But then so now you own the guys who own the time. So that's what it is. If you say your guys' time, it's you own these guys, so those guys are like, we're your guys, so it's our time. You would say your guys' time. But don't say that.
Yeah, that
That
makes
probably
sense.
helps them so much.
Yeah, this
with
is
everything else
huge.
in their lives. Yeah.
It's gonna be all over the SAT.
Yep. Everywhere. Every section. Specifically on the ACT Science.
Specifically.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay. Are you done with this?
Yeah.
You always ask me what that's about, Bird.
Well, I think it's because you're using the da da da, which is like it's "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal. Da 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 da.
No, it's not.
There used to be a guy that talked like Kermit the Frog. And he and his friend, they did live streaming of the ACT.
I've never seen a dash usage like that. Okay, we're gonna check this one out. Can you guys go over college questions, or is it just SAT? You like college application essay or college app stuff? Yeah, we can talk about college app stuff.
What is a college question? Like, what is the meaning of life?
It's more like
question to talk about
college. The
Oh,
answer
that is a
is
college.
if you want.
Yes. iPhone 11 looks trash.
Oh, did it come out?
Yeah,
Or
it
did
came out. They just did the thing.
Okay.
Maybe it's on pre-order right now.
Oh, they did the WWDC thing.
Yeah. It is cheaper though. That's what I've heard.
It has like a big square on the back, or did that one already come out?
The Pro has like 3 lenses on the back.
You know what's stupid? That's stupid.
3 lenses?
Yes.
Do you know what they're for?
Yes.
What are they for?
Cameras.
Oh,
You didn't think of that, did you, Bird?
I guess I didn't.
No. You
I
never
just
think of
thought
that.
lenses were cool. I didn't realize they were for anything.
Yeah.
Does it matter if I took 3+ SATs? As in, like, colleges seeing multiple scores?
Depends on the college. Here, move over.
Yeah, it depends on the school. Some schools require you to send all of your scores, and some schools require you just to send your best scores. Levi and I have had students that have taken it multiple times, like more than 3. So I don't think you should worry about it. If you think you can do better on the next one, if you really think you can do better, go for it. You guys go over real, rational, etc. numbers after. Yeah, we can.
Ooh.
We absolutely can.
Real and irrational.
Real, irrational, imaginary, integers, whole numbers.
Okay,
natural
so just
numbers.
number. What is this word? Classification.
Yeah.
Number class. Okay, let's just do this question. Hopefully, I can answer it. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's pretty fun.
Oh, this is still wet when I. Oh, jeez. Look at this.
You ruined the rag, you mean?
Da da da. Bird's
Dude,
hair
is that
got
Seal?
long. Yes, Robot Dancer. You've been along. You've been away for a while. I wanted to grow my hair out for when you came back and saw how long it was, so that you'd make a comment. And now that you've done that, I can go cut it off.
Good. Bird, cut it off with fire. Okay. This question right here is on dashes. Hey, Bird, can you link this on the... This is ACT Reddit. It's, I think, a question from 25 minutes ago. Reddit's subreddit, ACT subreddit. That's what I was trying to say.
Sure.
Okay, so someone said that they've never seen dashes like that. Whoa, what are these dashes for? Question is, why is number 4 no change? I've never seen dash usage like that. All right, so we have, I ride this trail nearly every day. Not on a bike, but on Luigi. Luigi is not a bike, for sure. It's a motorized wheelchair. Oh, very exciting. Okay, so approach to this question, I'm just going to go through the whole thing. Do the easiest punctuation first. Easiest punctuation is stuff that has rules that cannot be broken. So semicolons are the easiest. Semicolons, periods, then colons. Then I would go to dashes, then I would go to commas, then I would go to no punctuation because there's nothing really to work from with no punctuation. Doesn't mean that it's more likely to be right if it's a semicolon than a comma, but start with easy stuff with rules. So G, and it looks like you didn't put this one, so that's good. Or maybe you did, I don't know. So a semicolon needs to be with an IC on either side. Do we have an independent clause before? I think we do. I ride this trail nearly every day. Subject I, verb ride. It's a complete thought. So I ride this trail every day. And then we would have the semicolon. And then we would have not on a bike, but on Luigi. We do not have a subject or verb. I mean, we have some nouns, but there's no verb and there's no subject doing the verb. It's not a complete thought. Now, a full sentence cannot be not on a bike, but on Luigi, which means that G is wrong. Cool. So I'll just put out the answers, I guess. F, G, H, J. We know G is wrong. Now, let's go to the next one. I would start with the dash now because dashes are easier than commas, easier than nothing. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Let's go to J because J also has a semicolon. Okay, it's after bike. So we would have, I ride this trail nearly every day, not on a bike. Okay, sure. I mean, I ride it not on a bike. Fine. Then after it, we just have but on Luigi. There's no verb there, so J is wrong for the same reason that G is wrong. Neither has an independent clause after the semicolon. Now we have F and H. What we've already discovered is that before the word day, we have an independent clause, right? We can't just throw on more stuff at the end if it's not separated correctly. You would not want to say in H, what H has, I ride this trail nearly every day, not on a bike, but on Luigi. We gotta cut stuff off, right? So these other things at the end, not on a bike, but on Luigi, that's that's non-essential information, right? The essential thing in this sentence, grammatically and contextually, is I ride this trail nearly every day. So the dash, it might be confusing because you would think that not on a bike by itself is the only non-essential. And then you would say, I ride, but that's not quite right. And that would be bad for a dash, right? You can't do your independent clause and then a dash and then your non-essential and then a comma and then the rest of your independent clause. So this IC continued. Can't do that, right? You have to do 2 dashes or 2 commas. That's not the situation here. So if you're saying that not on a bike is a non-essential, then yeah, maybe you should use 2 commas. Now, that's not an option. But even if you're trying to say not on a bike is your non-essential, then the IC that's left over when you take a non-essential out, because that's how you should deal with non-essentials, take them out, see if the sentence works. We have, I ride this trail nearly every day, but on Luigi. That doesn't make sense, right? Contextually, why would you just say but on Luigi? Doesn't make sense. So F would need to be the right answer because now what's happening is you have your entire independent clause here, then you have a dash, then you have a big non-essential with another non-essential in it. You basically are offsetting 2 non-essentials at the end. You're saying IC, dash, and then non-essential with a little baby non-essential here as well. But they're both just offsetting at the end. It's more like you have this big non-essential here, right? Not on a bike, but on Luigi, but you need to offset those 2 from each other. That's a tough one. The best way to approach these is to eliminate the other answers. You definitely want to offset your non-essentials, though. That is a little strange with only 1 dash. It sort of feels like not on a bike should be its own non-essential. It's not quite that way. You have a big non-essential, and it's made up of 2 little guys, which are not on a bike, but on Luigi. I understand why that's hard. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions on this. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the number classification stuff. Or maybe, Brady, we can do it together.
Sure.
because we do everything together.
Very true.
Although I haven't seen you all day.
What do you mean? You're seeing me right now.
Before now.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, right, we filled these again.
Yeah.
With water, right? Can I squirt?
No.
No? Okay.
I prefer you not. Squirt. Squirt.
Squirtle.
Squirtle. All right, types of numbers. This is exciting.
Types of numbers.
Numbers are very diverse in their nature. The very first divide comes between real and imaginary. Imaginary numbers are created when you take the square root of a negative number. The hallmark of an imaginary number is that it's got I in it, such as negative 3i.
Why not 3, my lord?
Because that's not imaginary.
Yes,
'cause
my
there's
lord.
been no square root taken of a negative number.
Yes, my lord.
Now there is this nice little mixture of both that you see sometimes. All right? There's this mixture that has a real and an imaginary component. And Levi, what do we call that?
A complex number.
Yes. Complex numbers. They have a real component and they have an imaginary component. So they come in the form a plus bi, which I'll write down here, actually. Gotta get some space here. All right, so the form of a complex number is a plus bi, where a is the real component and bi is the imaginary component. Okay?
What's the O for?
I was talking about a rational, real, whole rational. Well,
Yeah,
I know. We're
getting
gonna get
there. Oh my gosh.
We're literally already done with imaginary and
We're literally
complex.
there.
We are already done with that. We just wanted to give you some context. Is that so much to ask? All right.
Relax, Jay.
So, rational numbers are numbers that can be expressed as a fraction. They're called rational because the root of the word rational is ratio. And ratio, go to ratio. Ratio means fraction, basically. All right? So, any number that can be expressed as a fraction is a rational number. So like 7 over 1. That's a rational number. 1/3 is a rational number because it's 1 over 3. 0.5 is rational because it'd be expressed as 1/2. All right? Things that are not rational, irrational, cannot be expressed as fractions. You want to write a couple? Everyone's favorite? There's just pi. It's a lot of pies.
So many pies, my lord.
All right, pi cannot be expressed as a fraction. Neither can, I don't know if you've learned about e, Euler's number, or square root of 2, or a lot of square roots. A lot of square roots cannot be expressed as fractions. They will go on forever. Their decimals will go on forever and they will not repeat. There's no pattern. Unlike 1/3, which is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 forever. That's a pattern. It's rational. Keep talking, Levi.
Integers are within rational numbers. Those are the things on the number line that was in your kindergarten class or first grade class or whatever. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. That's all of them.
Nah.
So anything on the number line, no fractions, no decimals, just -2, -1,000,000, 0, 4.
You know, we really should have made
Um,
imaginary a much smaller category on this board.
It's all good. It's all very good. Whole numbers are 0 and up. Natural numbers are 1 and up. So integers include negatives. Whole numbers are 0 and up. So the only number that is a whole number and not a natural number is the number 0. Wait, so rational consists of integer, whole, and natural. Yes. So it drops down. Yeah.
These are nested categories. Like squares are inside of the rectangle category.
Right, and these are rectangles which are inside rational numbers. Don't listen to that. That was bad.
Stupido.
Stupido. Hey, you should definitely ask us some questions, but thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, Stupido.
So 1, 2, 3, 50,000.
Throw in a couple. Yeah.
Yes, so whole numbers can include those. 0 is the only whole number that is not a natural number. The way I remember whole numbers is it has an O, which is like a 0. So that's what whole numbers are. Natural numbers are there's only one fewer natural number than whole number, and it is because of the number 0.
30 over 10 is a rational number because you've written it as a fraction, and you can simplify it to 3 over 1, which is just 3, which is also a rational number. Nice
It's
try.
also 30 over 10 is a natural number. It's natural, whole, integer, rational, and real.
Yes. Makes sense. Good. Yeah, imaginary. I mean, look at all this space. It's just negative 3i. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a
that is the
disaster.
only imaginary number.
That's
Can
Levi.
you imagine
That's
any other
not
number?
true at all.
Thanks on the test tomorrow, he's giving us numbers and we have to place them.
Place them on the test.
Yeah. If you drop them, just blow it off. As long as within 5 seconds, you can still put them on the test. Otherwise, ask your teacher.
Yes.
Okay. That's what we had, so we could do something else.
If the square root is root 9, then it's rational, right? Yeah, because it turns into 3.
Yes.
Yes.
What's interesting, though,
Uh-oh.
is if we have radical 18,
Uh-oh.
that would go in irrational, right? Because that'll break down into something. Also, radical 2 also would be irrational. But radical 18 over radical 2 is the same thing as 18 over 2, radical 18 over 2, which is the same thing as 9, which equals 3.
No.
So you have to be careful of that.
Be gentle. Be careful.
Be so darn gentle.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Yes. If that's on my test, I swear.
You
Yeah,
just-
basically just try to simplify whatever is given to you if it seems simplifiable. How do you guys even think about that? Oh, we that's all we think about.
Think about what? This stuff?
We teach it, so we've thought about it.
Yeah, it'd be weird if we didn't think about this stuff,
Yeah.
considering what we're currently doing.
Think about it this way. We are much older than you and have spent a lot of time doing this. So think about how much smarter you are than you were, and then do that again, and that will be how much, like, that's what happens.
Yep.
Like when something can be simplified into more and more and more. Oh,
Well, it's a property of, square roots and fractions. It's like you got to understand the rules of what you can do and what you can't do
Yeah.
with arithmetic.
yeah. Also, Brady can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
I
So
can't. I literally have to choose one or the
genetically,
other.
we're all kind of,
I can chew is it cud?
cud.
Isn't that what a horse chews? Like a
Yes.
cow?
Yeah. A
that
horse
what-
cow. Yeah.
Is the cow the cud is what's in the stomach, right?
I don't know. I associate cud with like the weird grass that the cows eat.
Oh, I have
Tell
another
me when you
question
can
too.
answer. Oh, wait.
We
what?
have nothing but time.
We have so much butt time.
Yeah, it's a lot of butt time.
Yep. But time, my lord.
What time is it? Butt time! Ha ha!
Oh, his
To the butts!
Good. What's it? What, is it pronounced butt or butte? B-U-T-T-E. Is that like a land formation?
Yeah, with an E, it's butte.
Yeah.
So are you asking what?
Like that horse is a butte.
No,
Oh,
B-A-U-T.
that horse is a land formation.
no, it's not. It's a horse.
That's what happened to my horse. I don't know what that means. Tell me when you can answer the other time. You do. Okay, ask away. Ask us. Bert, did you link the Reddit thing when I was doing it?
Yes, did you?
Thank you. No, I didn't. I was hoping you would, and you
Yeah, I
did.
did.
And that's what partners are for.
That's what.
Wow,
partners are
Jay, thank you for the sub.
today.
Bert. Jay just subbed.
What?
Yeah.
We've gotten a sub in so long.
Oh my gosh. You overpay us, Jay. You overpay us. Stop
Uh-oh.
that. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Means. You know what that means.
I know what that means. I don't know how many of these guys know. Wait, stay there. I gotta erase a little bit. Or you can jump to the other side of the board so you're not blocked by this.
Well done! Well done, Jay the Whiskit! Well done!
Woo! Alright, you got what you paid for, Jay. That's your fault that happened, by the way. Nobody else caused that but you. If anybody else wants to see that again, you can also subscribe. Otherwise, we'll just give you free tutoring. Oh my god.
Yeah, did you see that guy from like a minute ago? What was that?
Your glasses are fogging up because the air is coming out of the eyes.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I'm looking at it. Noble Spartan, you followed the other day. How are you? Do you have questions for us? You should. You should ask us. We will tell you the answers.
Noble Spartan 6, I knew your father. He was a good man. And a noble Spartan indeed.
Oh, Stupido. Thank you for the question. We will answer it right now.
He shall not be forgotten. Noble Spartan, Discord. Sign up on our Discord. It's below. Jump in there. You can just put it in our questions for stream channel. And that's kind of it. Uh-oh. Stop!
Okay, there we go, Bert. Are you gonna do this, or am I gonna do this?
I will do it.
When you guys get big, I'll get jealous. No more free tutoring. No. We'll start paying you when we get really big.
Jay, how much do you charge per hour? See how it feels?
Yeah, didn't that hurt your feelings the way he asked that? And his attitude right now? If you want private tutoring, you can ask him. We'll tell you what we charge per hour. But this is free, and it will continue to be.
The thing about private tutoring, though, is it's very private. We take you to a deserted island, and we tutor you there. Nobody knows where
The
this
three
island
things
is.
I would take to a deserted island are food, water, and my tutor bird.
Come on! I'm a bird.
Oh gosh. Okay. So Brady, consider the fractions 1 over a, 1 over b, and 1 over c, where a and b are distinct prime numbers greater than 3, and c is equal to 3a.
Let me consider
Okay.
this for a second.
Okay, consider that.
How
How does that feel
Consider.
in your feline brain?
Meow.
Okay. Suppose that a times b times c is used as the common denominator when finding the sum of these fractions.
I'll suppose.
In order for the sum to be in lowest terms, its numerator and denominator must be reduced by a factor of which of the following?
Got it. May I begin? I'd like to explain to you my thought process because I already know the answer.
Yes, explain to them.
Very good. Well, there are variables in the question and there are variables in the answer. Therefore, this is a very conceptual question and that's going to make it difficult. So what we're going to do instead is choose values for A, B, and C. Just choose them. A, B, and C are distinct prime numbers greater than 3. Distinct means they're different from each other. Greater than 3 means that the next couple prime numbers will be, so just a little prime number, we have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, so on and so forth. We have to choose 3 that are greater than 3. So I'm going to use these right here, 5, 7, and 11. All right? So the fractions that we're thinking about right now are going to be 1 over 5, 1 over 7, and 1 over 11. Meaning that this is our A, that is our B, and that is our C. This is going to make more sense now. C is equal to 3A. Look at that. I jumped the gun on this one. Our C value is just going to be 3 times of this, so this is actually going to be 15. All right. Yeah, I forgot. A and B are the distinct prime numbers, not C. Well. You're along for the ride. Here we go. Suppose that A times B times C is used as the common denominator when finding the sum of these fractions. Let's find out what that is. They're telling us to use 5 times 7 times 15. So that is going to be... Think about this for a sec. $525. So the question is, suppose that 525 is used as the common denominator when adding the sum of these fractions. In order for the sum to be in lowest terms, its numerator and denominator must be reduced by a factor of which the following. We're going to need to add them. They're asking us, what are we going to have to reduce by after we're done adding them? So we have to add them. We simply must add them. So we're going to turn these fractions into fractions over 525. How do we do that? Well, we multiplied them all together to make 525. Hold on, my brethren is calling.
What? Oh.
Oh, hey guys. Haven't seen you in a while. So to get 5 to turn into 525, we have to multiply by the other two numbers that were multiplied by to get to 525, which are 7 and 15. All right? This is going to become 1 over 5 times 7 times 15 times 7 times 15. We're going to be adding the other fractions. So now we're adding 1/7. But this is going to be multiplied by 5 by 15 by 5 by 15. And then lastly, I'm going to have to get rid of this. Just going to go ahead and get rid of this.
Hey, Bert, just so you know, the blue and the green do not really differentiate.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, you know. So I'll have to finish it out like this. Then we have 1/15 times 7 times 5 times 7 times 5. So we know that the denominator of all of these is going to be 525. Jay the Whiz Kid. Yeah, private message us about tutoring. We'll be happy to talk to you there. So we're going to add these things together. What do we get here? So this fraction is going to be 70 plus 35. This is 105 over 525. We're adding this with 75 over 525. We're adding that with 35 over 525, which overall gives us the fraction. Let's think about this for a sec. 110 plus 105 is 215. 215 divided by 525. So we're going to simplify this. Now you could use your calculator and ask it for the simplified fraction, which is the fastest way to do it, and I would highly recommend that you do it that way. If, on the other hand, you don't have your calculator, which why would you not have your calculator? Well, there's a couple of things we know we can divide by. 5. We know we can divide by 5 because these are both multiples of 5. But figuring out exactly what they're going to be, let me get my phone. So we have 215 divided by 5, which is 43. 525 divided by 5, which is 105. So we just divided by 5. And 43 is a prime number, meaning we are done. Levi, Jay the Whiz Kid asks you to reply to him on Discord. So this is now no longer simplifiable. So we just reduced by a factor of 5. 5 isn't an answer, but A, B, and C are answers. And if you'll remember, we set A equal to 5. So we must have then reduced by a factor of A, which is answer choice B. Oh, that's annoying. They should have made an ABC just A, B, and C. Instead, they staggered it one down so that B is A, C is B, and D is C. I don't like that at all.
They didn't do that.
Yes, they did, Levi. I have eyes and a heart that's broken from what you just said. Noble Spartan 6 says, do you guys have any general tips for the reading and science part of the ACT? Because that's where I'm struggling at the most, and my goal for this weekend is to get a 34. That's a high score.
You have a great Spartan accent.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, as I told you, I knew Noble Spartan 6's father.
Right.
He was a great man. But that's how they all talk there. Yeah, of course. Yes, he was. He still is. But he also was. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff for reading and science. Levi, can I take this down?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we could maybe do some reading and science stuff.
That's what I'm thinking. As in, take this down.
Oh, okay.
Noble Spartan, are you having trouble with getting the answers right or finishing in time or all of the above? Be honest. Your father would want that. More finishing in time. Very good.
Okay, Noble Spartan, do you want science, or do you want English? We cannot do both at once. Sorry. Reading or science? Well, we could do both at once. You would not,
we'll start with
get
one.
as much.
We'll start with one.
Yeah, I know we'll start as one.
We can't start with both of them.
Why don't you
Levi.
do science and I do English, and then Noble Spartan
There's no English,
learns
it's reading.
Nothing. Fine.
You keep saying English.
You say English when I...
Mistakenly stated?
Don't you?
I want to be paid.
What?
This whole process is taking too long.
What?
I'm taking what's outside of this conversation and I'm bringing it onto the stream.
Okay.
You know, like company stuff. Broke boy hours. Can't afford the private tuner, but I can afford daily subs.
Whoa. I mean, it's monthly. I don't think you can do it again.
Yeah, you can't sub daily.
Yeah, don't even try.
Unless you make multiple accounts and link them to credit cards and then sub again. But you don't want to
Or-
do that.
Spread us like the plague.
Yes, do that.
The plague was actually much better for humanity than most people think.
Yo, if I'm going to talk science, we don't need this yet. Unless you're going to bring up a science
I'm
section.
going to bring up a science section.
Who's that nice lady?
It's she's talking about 7. Wait, let me show you. 7 side hustles you can start from your couch.
Wow.
How do they know I do all of my work from my couch?
Because you're always side hustling from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more interested in. We tried 7 ways to hard-boil eggs and found a clear winner.
Well, what's the clear winner? We have to click on
Probably
it.
water.
As opposed to Mercury and the other things?
Yeah, I always tried mercury.
Yes.
The god of war makes my eggs. It's a good thing to
Yeah.
think about. What are we doing? We're doing ACT. Yeah. What test you want?
70G.
Bam.
Give me some 70G. Oh, so that's why Levi's so crazy. Yes. All right. So Noble Spartan, hear me out here. The science section is composed of 7 passages. Is it 6 or is it 7?
Oh,
6.
it's 67. It's 6. It used to be 7. Now it's 6.
I was thinking about like winding up and then just going right into the neck.
Why?
Well, I was
were you
thinking
thinking
about it.
Why were you thinking about
Why
that?
does anyone think about anything?
Well, because
Go to
they,
our drive.
They want to hurt
It's on
their
our
business
drive.
partners.
It's on our drive.
Okay. How do you?
Unless you can get this.
I can't. Can you?
It's 70G. Yes, Mercury did make you crazy. So does lead. They used to like let you float on Mercury because it's 13.6 times as dense as water. So its buoyancy is 13.6 times as strong.
That also means its pH is 13.6 times bigger.
That's not true whatsoever. Don't listen to him.
Ah, shoot.
Anyway, Noble Spartan. So 6 or 7 passages, one of them, okay? If you read all the information, you will never finish in time. You do not need most of the information. Most of the information you need is usually in the charts and graphs, and a little bit in the passages. But either way, what you need to do in general, and maybe you're already doing this, I don't know, is to go straight to the questions. The questions are worded in a way that they'll guide you where in the data they want you to look. A lot of times it can be answerable just by going to figure 1. That's what according to figure 1, what was the speed of the parachuter when t is equal to 4 seconds? That's just going to the graph and finding figure 1 and looking at the graph. You know, it's sometimes it's that easy. Now there are times. Oh, there we go. This is a big one. Can we
No.
see 2 side by side, or is that impossible? Not 2 science sections, like 2 pages
I
side by
got
side.
you.
It probably
Yes,
doesn't.
but then you're not going to have much.
All right, that's fine.
space
Just
on
make
the
it
screen.
make it a full, make it like half the size of the screen. It's cut off right now.
No, it's okay, Bert. Whoa. What's
I don't
that?
want this. Just forget about it.
I forgot about it. Forget about what?
Nice.
Woo.
All right.
What do you want here?
That's good. You're good right there. I'll
Want this
scroll.
passage?
I'll scroll. Yeah, I love
Do you
this
know how to
passage.
scroll?
Yeah. Of course I know how to scroll.
Who taught you? Your
Uh,
other business partner?
No, Noble Spartan 5. His
Got it.
father.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Here's the science section. All right, we got some tables. We got some graphs. Fantastic. We're going to keep going down, and we're going to look at question number 1. I have to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Okay. According to figure 1, over which of the following time periods of the isometric twitch of the adductor pollicis does the force generated by the adductor pollicis both increase and decrease? Calm down. There's a lot of words in here that you never need to understand what they mean. First thing that we see is according to figure 1. Okay? That tells us to go to figure 1. And we look at figure 1, we see this little time, we have this little loop thing. All right? That's our data. Look at the axes. On the x-axis we have time. On the y-axis we have force. So this entire isometric twitch, the adductor pollicis, that must be what that graph is. Who cares what those words mean? That's what the graph is. That's what they want us to look. So the question is, over what time periods does the force generated both increase and decrease? Our answers are 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, or 150 to 200. So let's look at this thing. Let's just look at it. I'm going to make it bigger. And make it bigger. Ooh. Look at that. Okay. So from 0 to 50, the line is increasing, but it never decreases. It's only increasing. From 50 to 100, starts going up. It rounds the curve a little bit, and then by 100, it's gone down a little bit. That seems like it's good. It decreased just a little bit. It's got to do both. 100 to 150, it's only going down. 150 to 200, it's only going down. So it has to have that hump in it because that's where it increases and then decreases. And that happens in 50 to 100. I have no idea what's going on in this passage. None at all. But I know that that's right. And so should you. That's not what I meant. Here we go. All right. We will now continue this. Noble Spartan, are you still with us? Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure. Hi. Very good. Very good. All right. All right, all right. Number 2 here. We have based on Table 1 and Figure 1, which means we're going to need to look at both. They're not going to send you on some wild goose chase and not tell you or lie to you about where you have to look. There's going to be information that we're going to need from both Table 1 and Figure 1. What is the correct order of the 3 phases of the isometric twitch of the adductor pollicis from the phase with the shortest duration to the phase with the longest duration? Duration means how long something lasts. Let's look at our phases. We have the latent period, we have the contraction period, we have the relaxation period. To figure out which one is the shortest and which one is the longest, okay? So, the latent period, what we hear about it is it starts at the onset of the stimulus and it ends when the force begins to increase. Let's look at our graph again. We have this graph we were looking at before, but then we have this circle thing, and it's labeled right there. Enlargement of the shaded area in the lower left of graph above. That's what it is. It's a little zoom in of that little square, what that would look like if we zoomed in, which helps us out because we see where this line actually starts to increase. So the latent period starts at the onset of the stimulus, and the stimulus is labeled at 0. That's the very beginning, is when the stimulus happens. And then the force beginning to increase happens right around here, which is about 2. This is a very short phase. It's only 2 milliseconds long. The next phase is contraction. Force begins to increase, which means where we left off, 2, where force begins to decrease. We already saw that that happens around here, around 90 or so. That's from around 2 to around 90, and then the relaxation phase starts when force begins to decrease and ends when force stops decreasing, which takes a long time. It continually decreases up until about 275-ish. So actually the order that they're in is the order of shortest to longest. Latent, then contraction, then relaxation. Question, done. I still haven't even read that. Do you believe that? Still haven't even read it. I mean, I've read it in my own time, but...
We should move on.
Previous science knowledge?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more things. 2 more things. There is a passage that's very different from the rest of them. That is this passage here. It's called the conflicting viewpoints section. There's some phenomenon, and then a bunch of students or scientists explaining their own viewpoint about why they think whatever is happening is happening. This one is going to take you the longest. It involves reading. Skip it. Push it till the end. Wherever this comes up in the whole section, it might be the first passage, it might be the 5th passage. Skip it and leave it till the end. If you're going to run out of time, we want you to do the ones that you do very quickly, okay? Now, for this one, I'd recommend that you read the intro paragraph, and then you read the topic sentence of each of the students' paragraphs. Because going into the questions, you'll have a pretty general sense of what's going on. You might have to dive into these a little bit to figure out more details. You might have to. And that goes for all the passages. If there's something that a table or a graph doesn't show, you're going to have to look somewhere in the passage for more information. Okay?
Yes. Also, with the go back up for a second. So with these guys here, they are talking about the same thing in the same places. So if scientist student
Student in this case.
if student 1 talks about something and student 2 is going to talk about exactly the same thing in exactly the same place in their paragraph. They might say something slightly different, but they will talk about all the same things. So expect the same exact structure for all of the viewpoints.
It's not about who's right. The questions just ask who thinks this and who thinks this. And if they found this out, then whose viewpoint would be supported?
Yeah, it's about having fun.
It's about having fun, all right? The last thing is that there are a couple of previous science knowledge concepts that you have to know. As you can tell, this test is not about assessing previous science knowledge. They're not asking you physics questions or bio questions or chemistry questions. They're asking you to interpret charts and graphs and experiments.
but they do count on you knowing a couple of things
from previous science knowledge, and I will very quickly go through them. The first thing is the Celsius degree temperature scale. You've got to know the important temps on that. The important temps on that. 0 degrees is freezing point of water. So if you're below freezing, you are a solid. 100 degrees is boiling point of water. It's a fantastic system. So if you're under boiling, but you're over freezing, you're in the liquid phase. Ooh, liquid. If you're hotter than boiling, you're in the gaseous phase. You're a gash, like Levi. Number 2, you got to understand the pH scale. pH scale measures acidity, how acidic or basic something is, a chemical. And the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. 7 is right in the middle, because mathematically, 7. That's neutral. If you're at 7, you're neither an acid nor a base. You're neutral. Pure water is neutral. 0 to 7, you're an acid. The closer you are to 0, the more acidic you are. 7 to 14, you're a base. The way I remember that is the earlier numbers are like, acid and base, A and B. A comes first in the alphabet. Earlier numbers are acids. B comes second. Later numbers are bases. There we go. Fantastic. We're doing great. Third thing. You're going to want to know the difference between an independent and a dependent variable. When you're doing a science experiment, you're trying to see if there's some kind of an effect that something has on something else, some kind of a relationship, okay? Maybe the kind of gas you put on your car to how fast it can go. So you design your experiment where you have a couple different types of gas, and then you measure how fast your car can go. The thing that you're in control of is called the independent variable. So this is what scientists control. This is the thing that they're adjusting. You're generally going to see very nice numbers for this. Like, we're going to do octane. 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. They're going to use very, very nice numbers. They're not going to use like 80.73 and 90.21. You're going to see those numbers in a dependent variable, which is what they measure. They can't control what they're measuring. They can only measure it. And it's very rare in nature when you get a really nice number. If you measure something, the speed of something, it's probably not going at exactly 40.000 miles an hour. It's probably going at some 40.037 miles an hour, something like that. So this is what scientists control. Sorry, measure. Jeez. Good. Last two. Number 4. You got to understand how to calculate percent change. You should know this in general, especially for the math section as well. If you're going from 4 to 7, I don't know, the price of oil went from 4 to 7. You want to find what percentage we increased by. You use this formula. New minus old over old. So you get the numerical change by doing new minus old. How much do we increase by? 7 minus 4 is 3. We went up by 3. We divide by our old, our original. And this gets us 75%. So the gas prices have increased by 75%. It's all in relationship to the number that you started with. Percent change. It's what's for breakfast and dinner and lunch because you live in a percent change sponsored household. Number 5 is you got to understand metric prefixes. How to convert. For instance, meters are the base unit in the metric system of length. All right? 1 meter, it's your base unit. Then you have kilometers. This is times 10 to the third. I'm going to make it even easier, times 1,000. Kilo means times 1,000. All right? There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. All right? So this is 1,000 times bigger than a meter. All right? Yeah, there's prefixes in the middle for 10 and 100. Hecto and deca. You don't need deco and hecto. We don't really see those that often. Kilometers is the big one. And then we have, there is 1/10, which is decimeters. We don't use those. The next thing we use is centimeters. Centimeters, which is times 1 over 100. These are 1/100ths of a meter. You got to have 100 of these to fit in a meter. And then you have millimeters.
which are 1/1000th of a meter, okay? You got to understand the math on how to convert, all right? They give you 4.3 centimeters, and they want you to convert to meters. You have to divide this using dimensional analysis. You end up dividing it by 100 centimeters, which is you're going to get, let's see, 0.043 meters. Stuff like that. Look it up. Understand all this stuff. You're great. We're proud of you. Levi, reading.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a bunch of questions on the Discord, so I want to do those.
Okay. Good idea.
Ow.
Jeez.
Business partner always hits me. Okay, we're going to do some Discord questions. Okay, so it's been a while since you put these questions on our Discord, so for those of you who put them on Meme, I think is the first one. We haven't done a meme question. We can do a meme question. Meme, are you here? Freshman year, what math did we guys take? I took geometry freshman year. Brady took geometry freshman year. Then algebra 2, then pre-calc and trig, and then calculus. And then I stopped pretty fast in college because it was really hard. Yeah, I mean, there were kids in my school who were the level above me in the same year as me. So like there's always a couple different levels. That doesn't necessarily determine whether or not you're good at math. So algebra 2 isn't hard then. You are drawing wild conclusions. Everybody's different. Algebra 2 is way more abstract than geometry, for example, because geometry is very visual. But some people aren't good at geometry because it's very visual, or maybe some other reason, or they hate proofs, and so proofs kill them. There are so many different things that happen in high school math. You might have a bad teacher for algebra 1, so then when you get to geometry, you're maybe okay, but then you get to algebra 2 and you're trash because you had a bad teacher in algebra 1. There are so many different things. Proofs dropped your grade. Yeah, well, good thing proofs aren't on the SAT or ACT. Meme, are you here? Can you say hi, and then I'll do one of your questions? Otherwise, I won't. And then I'll do one of Jay's questions. And until you do, I'm going to do Jay's question. Jay, I'm just going to put this on the board. Jay, is this your homework? Because I don't necessarily want to do your homework for you, but I'll make up a problem or a question that's similar. What say you, Jay? So Meme or Jay, whoever answers first, it's sort of my review for my homework. Okay, I'm just going to make up something random. Let's say 1/4, let's say 2x minus 3 minus 1/4, 5 halves, 3 minus 2x equals 4x. Okay? This is pretty similar to the question you gave me. I assume you are solving for x here. So, or that's what I'm telling you because I made this up. So you're solving for x. You got to simplify this stuff because you want to isolate x. You want to put all your x terms on the same side so you can combine them, and then you isolate that x variable so that you have x equals stuff. But we obviously can't do that yet because all this stuff is all messy. So let's make it unmessy. Order of operations is everything here. When you do operations, you have to do them in order. And then when you isolate stuff, you do them in the opposite order, actually. But we'll get to that. First things first, parentheses for PEMDAS. So innermost parentheses, that would be here. Now, you also have these, but these are totally separate. So let's do inside here first. This is our innermost parentheses here, 3 minus 2x. Well, you can't put those together because you have a 3 and you have a minus 2x. They don't go together. They don't become 1x or anything weird. So what we should do is distribute. So let's distribute the 5 halves. So everything else stays the same. And also at the same time, this doesn't need to be in parentheses, right? Let's actually say that it starts with a minus here, okay? So let's do this guy first. negative of this whole thing means that it's the same thing as negative 1 times this whole thing. So the negative distributes to both of these things, giving us negative 2x plus 3. Yeah? So we just got rid of these parentheses, which is good, so we don't have to deal with it later. Now, we have minus 1/4 times, and then in here we are distributing the 5/2 times this stuff, so we will get 15/2 minus, and now we have 5, and it will be plus this 5/2 times negative 2x. 5/2 times 2x, which is over 1. The 2's cancel. You get 5x. So this would just be 5x in here, and that equals 4x. Please let me know if you are unhappy with where we are at the moment. Now again, we have another set of parentheses. We can't combine these two because one is a constant. Why are you confused? Tell me why you're confused. What confused you?
This part or this part? Or something not those parts? With the negative 2x minus 3. Okay, yeah, so exactly what you said. Negative 2x minus 3. Which means, that's the same thing, like if we had negative 3 times 2x minus 3, you would do the distribution, right? You would get negative 6x plus 9, right? So now instead we just have a negative. It's the same thing. It would be negative 1, 2x minus 3. That's exactly the same. What I wrote here is exactly the same as what's over here. It's negative 1, and we distribute. So negative signs always mean negative 1 times that thing. So negative 3, I guess you could say, is negative 1 times 3. Don't think of it that way. It's just negative 3. But here, you have negative of this whole thing. So it becomes negative 1 times each of those pieces, which would be negative 2x, because you have negative 1 times 2x. At the start, yeah, I just added a negative to give us something to do. Sorry, if that was a misleading part, I apologize. I would just making it harder, because otherwise we could have just ignored the parentheses entirely. My bad. Okay, ignore this, ignore this. Anything else, or are you happy with this? And then we can go on to the next step.
Are you happy, Jay? Is everybody else happy? Also, Meme, are you here yet? We can talk about stuff.
Go back to the fractions. All right. Like, you want me to go backwards and talk about how I did that, or you want me to just do the next piece of the fraction stuff? Backwards. Okay. So, we needed to start with the innermost parentheses, right? Because if you have a lot of nested parentheses, you start in the very middle, you know, the smallest parentheses, which would be this. You do what's inside parentheses before you do anything else. But there's nothing to do inside these parentheses, right? You just have 3 minus 2x. If it was 3 minus 2, then you would do 3 minus 2, which is 1. 3 minus 2x, you can't do that, right? You can't combine those terms. So let's distribute the 5/2. Just because there's other parentheses stuff going on, it doesn't matter. We're looking at this, there's nothing to do. So now let's go to the bigger set of parentheses. So now we don't care about anything here. It's just the 5/2 times 3 minus 2x.
What about 3, my lord?
Yeah, thanks, Bird. Thanks so much.
Great.
So we multiply the 5/2 by each of the things inside, each of the terms inside the parentheses there. Does that make sense for how we get 15/2, which is 5/2 times 3? And then 5/2 times negative 2x is negative 5x. Yep, cool. And now we have to deal with this set of parentheses. Fractions throw you off a lot. So nothing changes. Fractions do not change any operation that you do. You just have to do that operation. Now, the way you do that operation might be a little different, like keep, change, flip stuff with dividing by fractions. Yeah, that's a super common problem to have with fractions, is that they start throwing you off. Treat them like you'd treat anything else. Just because they're fractions doesn't mean you don't do multiplication or subtraction or anything else with them. And then maybe you'll have to write off to the side, this is what I'm doing here. So for 5, when I did 5/2 times 2x when I distributed, I did it up here so that I could figure out exactly what that would be. Because fraction, they're harder, so you have to, do a little bit more arithmetic to get them done. So let's start with this now. We have what's inside these parentheses or brackets or whatever. We can't combine those because this is an x term, this is a constant term. So we'll have to move outside them
So let's do this whole thing. We'll have to distribute the 1/4 to there and to there. So when we rewrite, we're going to get negative 2x plus 3 minus 1/4 times 15 over 2. So let's do that. 1/4 times 15 over 2. Well, I can't see anything to simplify here. So when you multiply fractions, you just multiply right across. You get 15 over 8. So that's 15 over 8. Happy or not so happy? We distributed the 1/4 to here. It's going to be minus 15 over 8 because it's a minus 1/4. Very happy. Good. And now we do the next piece. 1/4 to the 5x. So 1/4 times 5x. That'll be over 1. Nothing to reduce, so we'll just get 1 times 5x is 5x. 4 times 1 is 4. Now, let's think about negatives. We have we're subtracting 1/4 times negative 5x. So we have a negative and a negative, which means we have a positive now. So we have plus 5x over 4, and all of that will equal 4x. Yeah? Are you happy with this? Once we're here, now there's not any ugliness to deal with parentheses. Those are all gone. About the negative times negative part. Okay. So this is where it does get messy. We have negative 2x plus 3. You know that. That's just at the beginning. And now, we are subtracting this, right? We have to subtract 1/4 times this, 1/4 times this. So 1/4 times 15 over 2. 1/4 times 15 over 2 is whatever we said, 15 over 8. But it's minus that thing, right? And then the next thing, so that's why it's minus 15 over 8. Then the next one is 1/4 times negative 5x. So that would be negative 5x, but then you're subtracting negative 5x. So it's plus 5x over 4, sorry. Now from here we combine our like terms. So on the left side, we're going to get, we have negative 2x, we have 5x plus 4. And it's plus 5x plus 4. Silly mistakes are going to kill you. Yes, they are. They're not silly as just you're not focusing enough. That's the real problem with simple mistakes, or the real cause of simple mistakes. They often happen when you're learning new material. They often happen with negatives and fractions when you're learning new stuff because you start freaking out, and as soon as you see a negative or fraction, you don't know how to deal with that because you're also doing new stuff at the same time. Get yourself comfortable with negatives. Do not forget fractions. Sorry, other way around. Get yourself comfortable with fractions. Do not make mistakes on negatives. You will never not have to think about that in math. You will always have to take into account negatives in math, so just do it every single time you do any math arithmetic problem. Always. You will never escape that, so just do it all the time. There's not a good excuse for messing up negatives. Fractions are confusing though. Okay, so negative 2x plus 5x plus 4, or 5x over 4. So negative 2x plus 5x over 4. This we're going to have to find a common denominator, so that this one would become, we have to have a common denominator of 4. So that'll be negative 8x over 4 plus 5x over 4. That will be negative 3x over 4. So that gives us negative 3x over 4. Then we have 3 minus 15 over 8. Let's do that here. 3 minus 15 over 8. We need a common denominator of 8. So that would be 24 over 8 minus 15 over 8. That equals 9 over 8. So, and that would be a plus 9 over 8. Why is it negative 2x? There's just a negative out here, right? Negative 2x, so you have to do negative 2x. That's why. It was from the very beginning, yeah? So we got that guy, we got that guy. 9 over 8. And this equals 4x. I thought it was on the other side of the equation. Kuz. Oh, hi, Kuz. Wait. So you just got a 1420 on this last SAT that you took? Wait, when did the scores come out? Oh, they came out. What day did the scores come out?
I think the 6th.
Was that
Friday.
Friday. Oh yeah, so we didn't see you. Okay. Oh my gosh, -2 was a 750. That's painful. Yeah, they need to make the math harder. That's really what it needs to be. Or they need to make some of the math harder. Yeah, the thing with the math section, if you're at that level where you're getting 1 or 2 or 3 wrong, you got to focus on the verbal. That's the most important thing. I missed 10 math questions last test and got a 710. Wow. That's frustrating.
I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, Kuz, don't get any wrong. You get an 1800 or 800, 1800. I'm saying. Okay, here we gotta combine like terms. So the x needs to go to that side. So we're gonna add 3 over 4x to both sides. So 3/4, 3x over 4 plus 4x over 1. We'll have to make that 3x over 4 plus 16x over 4, which is 19x over 4. So we have 9 over 8 equals 19x over 4. We went down 10 in reading. Okay, it's all about reading then. Yeah. So here we need to get the x by itself. This is where people start freaking out, or they think the only thing to do is cross multiply. That's not the case. You need to get x by itself. So let's get rid of the 4. How do we get rid of the 4? Let's multiply. I'm going to just switch to another color now at this point. I'll do blue. Let's multiply by 4 on both sides. Multiplying by 4 on both sides means those cancel. And then these two, it reduces, so you'll get, let's bring this bad boy up here. 4 and 8 become 1, because it's over 1. So 1 up top there and 2 down here. So we have 9 over 2 equals 19x. And now we divide by 19 on both sides. And this would be, it's the same thing as multiplying by 1 over 19. Yeah? So then we would get x equals this ugly stuff, which is 9 over 38. And that would be your answer to this question I made up. All right, see you, Kuz. Yeah, good luck shooting for that 1500. You hate this so much. We'll talk about this in a sec. Jay, don't cry. Don't go, Jay. Don't cry. Other people, please ask questions. Meme, if you're here, say hi so I can do your question. Jay, let's keep talking about this. Kuzi, do a bunch of reading. Figure out what question types are the hardest for you. Are they inference? Oh my gosh, inference questions, two-part questions, purpose questions, main idea questions, the split passages, history. I think you said history is hard for you. At this point, Kuzi, you're good at the test. Your score is high. So what you need now, should I try to aim for an 800 on math? So I mean, yeah, if you know what you messed up for sure on the math, then sure. But you only have 2 questions to make up. So like, you're at the point where my guess is maybe one of those questions was, you really didn't know, or maybe both of them were simple mistakes, and that's on you, and you just got to focus more. And if you get them perfect, great. If you make another simple mistake on the next test, then okay, that is what it is. Focus on the reading, focus on the writing. And then it was probably a simple mistake on the other. So I would say don't forget math, but focus on reading and writing, of course, right? You need to now that you're good at the test, every time you take it, you need to be identifying. You need to know exactly why every question is right or every answer is right or wrong. So don't worry about timing at the moment. Now every test you take, every test section, especially on reading and writing that you take, but also math at this point, be perfect. Do not practice doing the SAT anymore. Practice being perfect on the SAT, on every single question. If you don't know it, you don't know it, and that is what it is. But you need to practice knowing exactly why every single answer choice is right or wrong. Be able to express that to yourself or your tutors, and then that will help you, I promise. Okay, so Jay, what's the deal here? What are your thoughts? 1420 to 1500? Yes, I do honestly think it's possible, especially if you have a full month. Okay, I'm going to take some practice tests. I'll pop in the stream tomorrow. Okay, Noble. Cool. Sounds good. Remember, whenever you're taking practice tests, start identifying question types. Okay, so what question types are hard for you? Which ones are easy? Don't ever mess up the easy ones. And then with the hard ones, know that that's what you need to work on. And if you have the time, identify exactly what question type you have, and then for every answer, identify why it's wrong. Cross out words you don't like. Say this info is irrelevant, this is extreme, these ideas are jumbled, it's A to B versus B to A. That's in reading. Or this is, what's the idea here, not the purpose. Those types of things. Everything. Okay. Up till there. So I got 3 minus 15 over 8 plus... this? Okay. Wait. No. Then we got 3/4. Bye, Kuz. Inspiration. Bird, just so you know, we both have kids at 9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We also are going to be late tomorrow to stream, so we probably should tell people that.
Yeah, we're going to be late to stream tomorrow, just so you guys know, because we finish at...
7.
Yeah, we'll be starting hopefully around...
8.
8, probably 8. So here is where... So are you good up until here? 3 minus 15 over 8. And you get the negative 3/4 x part. Hey, thanks for the follow, fast x. Do you have questions? Ask us your questions. Okay, so you understood the negative 3x over 4. Was it this part that you're not good with? Like how we combined the 3 here and the negative 15 over 8? Is that what's the problem? What the problem is? Oh, sorry. You get this part? My bad. I always ask like 3 questions, and then when I get a yes, I don't know. No, you don't get that part. Okay, so 3 minus 15 over 8. You need a common denominator. So the common denominator will be 8. So you keep 15 over 8, but the 3 you have to multiply by 8 over 8. So it becomes 24 over 8, right? Because 24 divided by 8 is 3. Do you know what the HSPT is? Bird, what's the HSPT? Can you look that up?
Yeah.
No. Do you?
High school placement test.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, like there's the SSAT for New York high school stuff.
It's used for Catholic schools.
Oh, it's Catholic school stuff. Okay.
And some private schools.
What about it? Are you in middle school thinking about it, or what's the deal? Regions. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay, Jay, are you happy with this stuff here? Does this finding a common denominator stuff make sense? Okay, good. So then we get the 9 over 8, which we now write here, yeah? So we had the negative 3/4, that goes here, x, 3x over 4, whatever. We have the 9 over 8 here. Yes, careful, it's not 3 over 4, it's 3x over 4, or 3/4 x, whatever you want to say. But there is an x there. I'm going to start erasing some of this stuff. Okay, so once we're there, then we have to get x terms on the same side. So we finally combined all of our x terms, or our like terms, on the left side, but now we have an x term on the left and an x term on the right. So we have to figure that out. Yeah? You're in 8th grade. I doubt it. Actually, I really believe you. Can you teach me some things like that you think I would learn in 8th grade? Thank you. I agree. I also think I'm a good streamer. So Fast, we do only SAT and ACT stuff because that's what most people need. But we're happy to do some stuff. I don't know the HSPT at all, so I'm not sure what's on it. I assume it's a little bit of algebra and then some pre-algebra stuff. I assume this is probably on the test. This is useful and helpful, this fractions stuff with variables. But I would recommend looking up if there are any practice tests online. Maybe you've already done that, so I don't mean to insult your intelligence. But if you haven't, definitely look up some practice tests, do those, figure out what's challenging for you, and then bring those questions to stream or to the Reddits or the Discords for SAT and ACT, or maybe there's one for the HSPT, but I doubt it. Okay, so Jay, we have this, and now we add the 3x. So you're there. You're at 9 over 8. Okay, cool. So you're at 9 over 8 equals 19x over 4. Good. Now, if you know cross multiplying, you can cross multiply. I personally don't love cross multiplying in general. It's not wrong. It's just people just get stuck with that in their head with fractions. You don't always have to do that. And some people do it at the wrong time. In this case, you could do cross multiplying. What I did is I'm thinking I want to get x by itself. Right? That's the goal. So to get x by itself, I need to undo the stuff around it. It's divided by 4, so I want to undivide it by 4. So I multiplied both sides by 4. The 4 is canceled. On this side, 9 over 8 times 4 would become 9 over 2. I did that by, the top 4. I divide that by 4. I divide this by 4. I get 2 on the bottom, and a 1 is up top. Are you comfortable with that, like simplifying multiplying fractions before you actually multiply through? It's a way to not have to simplify the fraction. Okay, good. Let's talk about that real quick. So 2 over 3 times 9 over 6. If we are multiplying these two fractions together, how do you make stream elements thank people for following? I don't remember. We did it a long time ago, and I wasn't the one who did it. I think Brady might know. Okay, so 2/3 times 9 over 6. The way we do this, you could multiply them together. You get 2 times 9, which is 18, over 3 times 6, which is, oh, look at that, 18. Which then you'd have to simplify. This is a bad example because this is super easy. So let's not do that. Let's say this is... let's say this is 7 and this is 2. Okay. So if we multiply these two together, we get 63 over 3 times 2 is 6, right? It might not be readily obvious what you need to do here to simplify this stuff. So the best approach to this is simplifying beforehand. You can simplify before you multiply. What am I trying to teach right now, Fast? I'm trying to teach simplifying fractions before you multiply them through. Is this, exactly. This is just general solving equations. So we can simplify just like you can do. Ooh, you remember this? Yes, it's just like simplifying 10 over 5 to 2 over 1, right? As long as you take a top piece and a bottom piece, that's okay. They don't have to be one over the other. You don't have to do this numerator over this denominator. You can do this numerator over this denominator, which is what we want. We can simplify the 9 and the 3 because they have a common denominator. If we divide both of them by 3, we get a 1 here and a 3 here. Now, there's no common denominator between 7 or 3 with 2, right? Because the only factor here is 2. Not a factor there. So now we know this is as simple as it's ever going to get. We will get 7 times 3, which is 21, over 2. That cannot be simplified. It can be put in as a mixed number. It can be put as a decimal, but it can't be simplified as a fraction like this. Lo and behold, that's the same thing, right? If you divide this by 3, 63 divided by 3 is 21. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So this is harder to simplify, right? Because these are bigger numbers. So do it here before you actually put them together. If you simplified as much as possible here, you will know for a fact that this cannot be simplified. Yes, it is way easier. I agree. Life is way better when you do that. Unless you have a calculator, and just do it on the calculator if that's what you're into. Yeah, that's, I mean, this stuff is easy, but you need to practice it so that you don't forget it, you don't do it wrong later, because it's, yeah, I mean, you're unlikely to get a question like that on most tests. Maybe the HSPT, whatever that is, but SAT and ACT will not get a question like that. You will get a question like this, and then in the service of this question, you'll have to get to there or waste your time getting to 63 over 6 and then coming back. I don't know if you said if there's another way. And I solved it and got 9 over 2 equals 19. Yeah. I don't think that looks like you cross multiplied. Oh, and then you cross multiplied. Don't cross multiply there, because we also need to move on. We'll get Brady. Well, no, we probably don't have any more time for questions.
55.
Okay. And Meme wasn't here, so I don't feel that bad. Okay, so last little thing. You end up with that 9 over 2 equals, you said 19x over 1. This is what I'm talking about when I say I don't really like cross multiplying. Because you see these two fractions and you say, oh, I should cross multiply. It's not useful to cross multiply here. It gets rid of your fractions and it might make you feel more comfortable. But also the situation is just 9 over 2 equals 19x.
Just divide by 19.
Yeah, just divide by 19. You want x by itself, so you're undoing the multiplication there. Divide both sides by 19. And these cancel. And now 9 over 2 divided by 19. This is keep, change, flip stuff. 9 over 2 times 1 over 19. That was the keep. This is the change to multiplication. This is the flip to 1 over 19. There's nothing to simplify here. You can't, there's no common factors or anything, so you just get 19 over 38. And this is what x is.
Fast text. Can you maybe do HSBT prep sometimes? Show us some questions. If they're relevant to the SAT and ACT, we'll also do them. I'm guessing there's a lot of math on that thing, like there always is, and that math, because it's at a lower level, is also going to be on the ACT and SAT, so those are important skills for us to do. Levi and I have children.
Yep, got to do the children's stuff.
Yes. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, we're going to be a little late tomorrow. We'll make sure to send a little message on our Discord reminding you that we'll probably be starting around 8, which is 8 EST. Levi, you have anything to add?
Yes, EST stands for Eastern Standard Time, which is super important to remember. Sorry, I hoarded all the time. That's okay. We don't care. We just like answering questions. If other people were here saying they wanted their questions answered, because Meme put a question in and then wasn't here, so we didn't do it. Children are probably smart as heck. Heck.
We should say goodbye on 3, but make it very forceful. You ready?
Force, like it sounds very forced, or it's
forceful. Forceful. Just look at the camera and say goodbye on 3, okay? We'll work on it later
sure.
for later. Okay.
Sure.
1, 2, 3.
Forceful.
Goodbye.